July 18th, 6 p.m. This meeting will be recorded and, I hope, televised. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first thing we're going to start with is the town administrator's job description. We've had input from the search committee on this, as well as the Collins Center. There appears to be some minor modifications that need to occur. So with that, is there someone here representing the search committee?
Now, is this an official meeting of the search committee? Is there a quorum?
No, it's not. We knew there was the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, but I don't think
Okay.
it was
So
specific.
just as individuals?
I have no problem as individuals, because it's going to be an open conversation with us. So I'd much rather, if there's a question that we're not sure of, to ask somebody that was on the committee so they can feed us back information. Is that okay with everybody?
I think Vicky's
on her way.
Yep, there she is.
All right. It was pointed out to me that that clock is in error.
It's an error?
6:01,
They already did the Pledge of Allegiance, too.
I guess it is 6:01.
but don't worry about it.
Well, I just left here at 5:30, so I had to go home and change and come back, so.
Presently, we're looking for somebody to represent the screening committee.
Oh, that would be me.
You asked me how long this would be?
Hi.
Hi. The understanding was the screening committee had some concerns relative to the description of the town administrator's job. So we gave an opportunity for your committee to review that and give us some feedback on some of this stuff. I have in front of me a copy of the old version with the struck out lines, as well as the, I'm assuming, the gray areas as the new pieces that you'd like to add.
First, I have to tell you who I am. Vicki Morrow, Palmery Meadow Road, Screening Committee Chair.
Thank you.
I forgot. Yes, those were the highlighted pieces, were things that we changed, we added. And then also, the Personnel Board took a look at this last night at their meeting, and I added a few things to what their suggestions were. And that's the latest copy that you have in front of you.
So I saw a number of email copies floating around. Mr. Marco, I'm assuming this is the latest version that we have in
Yes.
front of
What
us?
you have in front of you is a version that was updated early this afternoon,
Yeah, what had,
sent to me by Vicki.
yeah, what had happened was, this was a suggestion from the PPP board where throughout this document, sometimes it said Select Board, sometimes it said BOS, and, they thought it would be best if it was consistent throughout the entire document that said Select Board. So I went and changed those, but it ended up not being 2 words, so I went back and said, I need to change those to make them 2 words and not 1, and so that's where the latest version came from, so.
Okay, well, that appears to be what I have in front of me.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
So hopefully I caught all those pieces.
So let's start with the general. The first sentence is struck, and the second sentence, the town administrator is the chief administrative officer of the town, working under the policy supervision of and periodically reviewed by the select board, and the town administrator is responsible for a proper administration of town government. We all comfortable with that?
Well, I don't know if we should bring it in up now. What the other firm that we hired, just mention what their opinion is before we go further, and then we can go into it, I guess. I think we should just put that out there.
Sure, would one of you like to bring that up? I don't care who.
Okay.
Basically, this is a response from the Collins Center who we hired, and it says, this is in response to the proposed revisions to the TA job description, which I believe was approved by the select board on or about the 13th of June. The center recommends that none of the changes be made to the job description. In several instances, they a leak in the job, parentheses, deletion of the role of chief financial officer is an example, and muddy the responsibilities and qualifications. So those are,
In detail based on stuff.
So I guess starting with the first, why are we striking the first two sentences?
Well, it's not in the entire thing, we just added and periodically reviewed by. So originally I had add just periodically reviewed by, but then I struck the whole sentence and rewrote it with that periodically reviewed by.
Okay.
Because previously it didn't say periodically reviewed by, so we just thought, it was important that, the select board reviewed that person, every so often to make sure that they're doing what, we say that they're supposed to be doing.
But in my experience, that's a functional thing rather than in a job description. And that's why I wouldn't put it in a job description. That's just part of the process of working.
Yeah, working under the supervision of the select board, I think, would cover that. That's my opinion.
Okay, so fine.
What are we gonna do there? Or-
I need to hear, I think we're gonna do this step by step, so why don't we just make sort of like motions as to what you think we wanna keep or add?
Okay, so first paragraph under general, I'll make a motion that we do not add the words that are highlighted, of and periodically reviewed by.
And the line that's struck out, we keep?
Yeah, that would revert back to what was struck
So it was
out.
originally there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it would be covered. I'll second that.
discussion?
so we're leaving the striked out part and starting with the general, the town administrator is the chief administrative officer of the town?
You're taking out the crossed out sections, and then you're striking out the sentence
Yeah.
that says town administrator is chief, because
Yeah.
it's duplicate.
I think, under the direction of or under the supervision of the select board, it should be covered, so.
Yeah.
So you're basically taking out where we put and periodically reviewed by. Everything else is still the same in that
Just
sentence.
reverting it back, yeah.
I think so,
Correct.
we're just trying to say that the chief administrative officer, and then it, we just put in, and by the way, you're gonna be reviewed. I don't know, I think that, I like the way it was originally.
Does the minute keeper understand what's been,
I think I got it.
all right, basic,
I don't have a copy of that in front of me.
Do you want me to just email it?
It's just staying the way it was.
I have an email copy, but I'm not seeing it in front of me while I'm trying to type.
I could just send that to you if it's easier.
And I'll give you a copy.
If I could just see a copy of it. But yeah, I just put in here that John made the motion and it was seconded by Jim. To leave the struck out part and they're taking out the crossed outs.
So let me clarify the
But I
motion.
guess I can add that, whatever
Do that?
language it is in
Okay, let me clarify the motion.
there. Okay,
My motion is to leave the paragraph under general as it was before any changes were
there
made.
we go, that's better.
Is that easier?
And that's my second for that.
Okay.
Okay.
and we've had discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah, if you can just tell me the motion like that would be great. Thank
All right.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Qualifications, line 2. What's struck from this is 5 years minimum experience?
Well, no, it's not. Again, I think the way they did it is they struck part of it, then they put it back in right after it,
All right,
in public administration.
so they've added in public administration, and they've added in-depth knowledge, or in-depth.
Yeah. I'm going to preface this whole thing by saying, I want to jump in here. I do a lot of these, and I've been doing some, so I hope everybody jumps in front of me. I don't want to seem like I'm,
John, I'm perfectly comfortable with you taking the lead on something that you have a better knowledge base than us.
well, we'll leave that part out, but by putting in public administration, we're narrowing the people that can apply. My experience is if you leave it open, you're going to get a lot more people, and then the committee can look at it and say, okay, this one has public administration, it's better over that one, so we'll forward those people. It'll give you a better pool.
I guess we were just anticipating that, 5 years minimum experience of what? You could have worked at McDonald's for 5 years, and that really doesn't give us any, that doesn't really help us.
But it says.
But I guess that would get taken out, so.
No, but it says, the in-depth part, I don't have an issue with that, and that'll clarify what you're looking for.
See, I was going a little bit deeper. I was saying I was gonna cross out in public and I was gonna put town government. But that may be more restrictive, maybe
Yeah.
not a good idea. Yeah, I like John's idea, maybe leaving it a little more open and let's see what we get, and then we can narrow it down from there, I think. But is this, I don't know, we're gonna use this as a guide to weed people out?
Yeah, eventually, well, what'll happen is when the advertisements go out, this is the job.
This is what comes out. So if they don't fit what we're deciding tonight,
They're
then
already
not
out.
considered.
Right.
So I think we should leave it a little more open.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm doing a job search now. We got 39 applicants. It's for a high-level manager. And we got people that you don't want, they don't even meet the minimum qualifications. We just put them aside. So we got a nice pool of good ones. And I think that's what we're looking for here. So, I mean, I would make a recommendation. We take out in public administration and we leave in the word preferred, but we also leave in depth. So preferred in-depth knowledge of municipal. I think that'll do what Vicki was saying, kind of narrow it down to the categories we're looking for.
Do I hear a motion to keep?
Can I back up?
Sure.
Do we want to keep municipal in there in front of finance or just finance? Because municipal will narrow it down quite a bit.
That was originally in there.
I know.
I would
That was
leave
originally
municipal,
Yeah,
only because we need somebody that knows how government functions at the town level,
okay.
or at least is.
So the motion is to insert in-depth between the original paragraph where it says preferred and knowledge in number 2. That would be the same.
Just a quibble, past tense preferred, isn't it prefer?
Prefer, yes, sir.
Okay.
It's also on the first line, it says a minimum of a BS or BA in public administration. So I think that line 2 sort of follows 1.
We hear you loud and clear.
Apparently.
Okay, so qualifications, number 2, I'm just going to read it. 5 years minimum experience with 3 years in Massachusetts, preferred in-depth knowledge of municipal finance, procurement, budgeting, and capital planning and related functions. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Second?
Well, we got one more, number 3, there's a change there we gotta talk about.
Okay. Significant and current experience in collective bargaining and human resource management. The new is and
Current.
current.
What would be current? I
Yeah, what's
mean,
current, yeah.
Is that 5 years current? I mean, it's an open-ended,
Hmm.
But before, there was nothing in there that said, it said significant experience. So you could have had significant experience 20 years ago,
Right,
which
Well-
means it's not up to date with what
right.
the current laws are.
But wouldn't the committee call that out? Josie, you've got a lot of experience in HR.
Well, I know that there's been.
You have to come up. Sorry.
Josie Alderman, 48 High Street, and I'm on the Policies and Procedures and the Town Administrative Search Committee. There have been huge changes in human resource law within the last 5 years. So, having someone with that current knowledge is going to be, and experience, is going to be important because, and I'm sure there's a lot of changes even with municipal law, which I'm not that familiar with, but certainly from a human resource standpoint, I think it's important that it's current.
I mean, personally, you leave and current and don't define it. I'm okay with that because the committee can decide what current is.
I'm
Right.
fine with that.
okay.
Thank you.
So at this point, my understanding is the motion is to,
Add the words in-depth under qualifications number 2 between the word prefer, change it to prefer,
Mhm.
and knowledge. So say prefer in-depth knowledge
you got a second on that?
No, and
And strike
number
out.
3, you're adding and current.
for number 3, you're adding
Adding in
current.
current.
Yes, and I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're going down to duties and responsibilities, line 4. Coordinate with all committees, commissions, and officials not under the jurisdiction of the Select Board, and ensure that departments and functions, that's the new word, not under the select board, operate in a manner that is consistent with town bylaws, policies, and procedures.
Do we have a sense of what your,
Just adding an S to functions.
well, what type of functions? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, ensure that departments and functions not under the select board operate. I don't know what they meant by function, but there's got to be more than one.
Right, so she just put
So
an
that's
S
why I
on
just
it.
put an S on
It's
the
a
end of it.
plural. I don't,
It's a plural. It's
That's
not,
So it's just plural?
it was just plural,
Oh, okay.
That's all they did.
just the S.
Sort of a typo there.
Can't see that here, okay,
So, yeah, it's just the S.
okay.
all right, I'm gonna jump to the next page. We're
So
all,
we don't have to, that's good there.
we're fine with the S?
I'm
They're
good.
fine with the
Yes,
S?
and the comma.
Rainey, you fine with the S?
Yeah.
Fine with the S,
Bob,
and there's
should
a
I-
comma after board.
And
That's
there's a
Yeah,
comma after
comma's
board.
good too.
And the comma's
Good
good too? Okay. And I'm afraid to ask Bob. 6,
Strike it, right?
signs all warrant, authorized to sign all warrants. Bob, you want to give us an explanation on that one?
This can be done, this can be delegated to the town administrator by special act of the legislature or by a town charter. It cannot be delegated to, this is legally a responsibility of the Board of Selectmen. It can't be delegated by the job description. So it has to come out.
Come out all together.
What the Municipal Reform Act says is that the selectmen can delegate to one of their members.
Right, that's what the
which
new
they've done.
Modernization
Right.
Act, yes, we
That's
did
what
do
they've
that.
done. So then you don't have to muster
Yep.
3 members of the select board to come in and sign warrants regularly, so.
Because it said sign all warrants, and so our thought was by putting, you know, originally we had empowered, and we put, kind of thought about authorized, because that way, if you decide you wanted to still sign them, you can just say, okay, today I don't have time, or whatever, for this month, the town administrator can do it. We didn't want to take that power away from the select board, which is where it should lie, so.
Whoa.
But if you're going to strike it all together,
It's gone.
it's gone.
Do I hear a motion to strike that sentence?
Well, you didn't do what's before it, so we gotta do all of it or none of it, one at a time.
Right, we're gonna do that.
What's before it? Prepare, but there's no change in that, that's
So
why.
I gotta add an S and a comma.
Right, and then 5, preparation of annual and special town meeting
Didn't
warrants.
change that.
What I'm saying is, we didn't vote on number 4, so then you wanna jump to voting on number 6.
Right, we're gonna do the whole
All
section,
at once.
duties and responsibilities.
You can do them one way or the other.
Well, I was gonna do the section, but if you want to jump line by line, that's fine too.
I'd do section by section, I think.
Yeah, so we gotta continue on.
Well, that's what I was gonna do.
I thought you were looking for a motion on that.
Right.
No, what I'm trying to do is give the minute taker very clear what you guys decided before I move to the next sentence. And make sure that Rainey's participating in this too, because I find myself watching you two and have my back to her, and I don't want to do that either.
I'm catching every comma, every.
Yeah, well, smack me on the back of the
Every
head if I
S.
don't pay attention, because I can't, this is like being in the middle of no man's land. All right, so we're striking number 6. Number 7 and number 8 have no changes.
Minus typo.
9 is typo, ensuring,
Not insuring with an I, we just
Right.
changed it to.
right? And BOS is now select board.
Yes.
So that's another, so now we get into number 11. Number 11 originally said, prepares the agenda and all background materials needed for each Board of Selectmen's meeting in collaboration with the Chair of the Select Board, and write the minutes for all Board of Selectmen's regular and executive meetings. It is now changed, proposed, to is the responsibility to collaborate with the Chair of the Select Board for preparation of the agenda and all background material needed for each Select Board meeting, and is responsible for taking and publication of Select Board minutes.
That's different from last night's meeting.
That's what Art had here, or where is it? What does it say? Coordinates, or where did he write?
It had to do more with coordinating as
Is
opposed to taking.
responsible in collaboration with the Chair of the Select Board for preparation of the agenda and all background materials needed for each Select Board meeting, and is responsible for the taking and publication of Select Board minutes.
Yeah,
That's what Jim sent me in his minutes
That's
from
what I
the
have here.
PPP board.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Do
it
you have
said
the-
taking of the minutes. I thought it had to do with coordinating and the publishing and.
That would be for the annual town meeting, which is the next, the annual town report, which is
Okay,
the next one.
All right.
Whoops. But they're not responsible
Josie,
for
wasn't
the
it,
taking.
wasn't it?
Well, I
I mean,
thought
that's-
we had
that's-
discussed that the town administrator wouldn't actually be taking the minutes
Right,
because
right.
we have somebody who takes the minutes. And I don't remember the exact wording. I didn't have that written down.
I have the minutes from the meeting from last night. I don't know if it says that, but.
Yeah, these are the minutes that Jim had sent me today, and that's
Okay.
what he wrote in there, so, but I mean, obviously, we can do that.
Yeah, so I agree that I don't think taking was
Right,
the
I thought it
word.
had to do with, you know.
Because taking and
really-
writing are kind of the same thing, in essence.
Right, but I think the final had to do with you're ultimately responsible
For the minutes.
for it if there wasn't anybody else.
Anybody there, yes, yeah,
If he wasn't there or someone else wasn't there. So it didn't say taking, I didn't think, but
no.
Right.
you're right,
The
Josie, I
ta-
might be confusing it with the
Taking's
second
one of
next
those-
one.
Responsible for the taking and publication of select board minutes, so, I mean, we
Taking
can,
isn't a good word.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, we can change that.
Materials needed.
Recording, I was gonna say, or
Let's-
document.
why don't we
yeah.
just-
How
Come up
about
with
this,
another line.
agenda and all background materials needed for each select board meeting as responsible for the minutes and publication and publication of them. Just responsible for
For the
the minutes
minutes,
and
whatever
publication.
capacity that may be.
Right, and just publication.
For the select board minutes. in
And publication.
Yeah, so just change in publication to the back.
Right,
Yeah, that works, I like it.
it's simple.
Taking out.
It's all the same thing.
Charlie?
I thought it was coordinate the taking and publishing of the select board minutes. I thought that's the way it ended. Did that sound right?
What was it?
It was coordinate the taking and publishing of the select board minutes.
That would make sense, yes.
I think that's.
All right, then, that's fine, I mean, responsible for coordination of taking, so you're just gonna inject the word coordination.
But do we want to put taking?
Documenting, I don't know, whatever you want to use.
What
for-
you had, Charlie, and is responsible for the select board minutes and publication.
Yeah, either one. That's.
That's
word-
That way, there's no
Yeah.
taking, there's no.
Well, taking
Okay.
sounds bad,
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Although that's what's commonly said. I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
Also, for consistency, select board, the second reference to select board should have a capital B.
Yeah, we should just make that a global change for the
Yeah.
whole document.
Yeah, maybe I missed one when I was going through it, so I tried to catch them all.
Okay,
You're right, that's a global.
so are we in agreement with this?
Yes.
Okay, minute taker got this
I think.
coordinate, this, okay,
They're responsible for the coordination of the minutes and publication, or
Yeah.
coordination, okay.
and number 12,
Select board minutes. As opposed to. other-
coordination, preparation, and publishing of the annual town report. Coordinates the preparation and publication of the town's annual report.
Because that person ultimately gets all the information from all the other
Yeah.
departments,
Yeah.
puts it all together, and
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
I guess you don't want that person thinking they have to prepare every single schedule and every single thing that goes in there.
No, they got to prepare, but they got to coordinate with other people.
Well,
so-
exactly,
Well,
exactly.
if you're going to throw something in there, why don't you throw in by the annual town meeting? Because by law, you're supposed to have it for the town meeting. So,
Yeah, that is Mass General Law, or you guys get charged $50 a
Yes.
piece out of your own pocket.
It is
By
so
the annual
expensive
town.
around here.
so I would
I'm
put
telling you, This volunteer job
Said-
is not what it used to be.
by the town meeting, by the annual.
Say
town meeting.
publication, just to keep the same
So coordinates
tense
the
as preparation.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say coordinates the preparation and publication of the town's annual report by the town meeting.
By the
Prior,
town- by the
how about
annual
prior,
Town meeting,
prior to annual town meeting?
Okay.
to be distributed at the town. I don't, however you want to do it, I don't care, but long as.
I mean, do you really want to get
available-
into putting Mass General Law in your job description? No. So,
But if you say prior to town meeting, it's
Annual
pretty,
town meeting.
annual town meeting, it sort of implies.
Right, that should be good. I'm good with it.
Does that make sense to the minute taker?
Yeah, I have a whole different, version of this, so, yeah, thank you, I'm writing them down as best as I can.
I'm trying to make
This
sure,
one doesn't seem to include the changes that
I can feel the
you guys
weight
seem to
around
be
my
seeing.
You want to give her this one? I have the electronic one.
So this is not really going to.
We're moving
Yeah, that
fast.
was one that the PPP board kind of came up with last night, so it was an additional change from them when we did it, so.
So coordination of the annual town report prior to the annual town meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And line 15 now is basically BOS now changed to select board.
Yeah,
You skipped 14.
Skipped 14.
yeah, there's
Oh.
a process.
Just took
I'm
out
sorry.
the word timely.
I didn't see it, actually. 14, oversee management facilities, include troubleshooting and maintenance issues, hiring contractors, when repairs are needed, striking the word timely. That makes sense.
Fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
So do I hear a motion to accept the changes for that section?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. I'm giving the minute taker a minute. Okay? I've been there, I know what it's like. It's, you know. Okay, B, Chief Procurement Officers pursuant to MGL. 1, authorize all expenditures related to the procurement laws.
We added related to procurement laws.
Yeah, that's where her or his authority comes from as a CPO, so.
I'm comfortable with that
Yeah,
change.
me too.
Rainey?
Yep.
Okay.
Because, as we had that discussion, I guess you don't want that person authorizing because I need a new pen. I mean, that's kind of,
Well, we had this discussion, didn't we?
we did. That's why I said, that's kind of not, I don't think where we want to
Wasn't where
go.
I wanted to go. Line 2, striking the first sentence and going overseas and approves all purchases of goods and services for the town related to our purchase order policy. That seems pretty straightforward.
Well, I just had a question. Are all purchases in the town run through the purchase order policy, or are there certain things that aren't? I'm just. I
Yeah,
don't
there's
know.
credit cards out there.
Yeah, I just-
The purchase order policy currently has a limit of anything over $2,500 needs to have a purchase order.
I would rather put relative to town policy. And that way it can be flexible, because this is a job description.
Right, if something falls out of the purchase order, would they not be able to approve it if it was just only relative to purchase orders?
Well, I guess that's why you would need a purchase order, because it was a bigger purchase, like, I guess, not,
Historically, we've always had purchase orders for, what, $2,500?
it's $2,500 right
Or
now.
more, because those are the ticket items that would have another impact on our operation.
You say historically, didn't Heather put that into?
Originally, we had
Margaret
purchase
Heather,
orders
did
for
she?
$500, which was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we moved it to $2,500, partly because we, as the chief procurement officer, you needed to make sure, and as you know, all those Chapter 30Bs, 149, rules are all followed. And the only way that I can tell that all those rules are followed by that particular person is if the purchase order is granted, and that's kind of the policy that we set forth, is that policy, you put a purchase order, and that means the procurement officer checks all those boxes, that they followed all those rules, and they have all that documentation in order for me to approve that purchase to paying that bill later on down the road. So, I guess it depends. I mean, is it that person's gonna approve the fact that someone needs a new chair? I don't know. I mean, that's really,
But that could change, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, that kind of takes some of the responsibility away from the department heads to run their own budget too, so. If you
Well-
have that person buy everything.
But I think that's going into the weeds. I just think if we put
Yeah.
services relative to the town policy, we can change policy at any time.
Yes.
And that person, everybody's got to adhere to it.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds fine to me.
All right. Make a motion? No, we don't want a motion, we just want to
well,
make sure the
right, we
minute
got-
takers got it.
No, that's it.
But we want a motion because that's B.
That's
That's
needs
it?
to be.
All right, so a motion.
I'll make a motion that we make the changes in B1 and 2 and strike the number 3 since there's nothing there.
No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Okay, it passes. Minute taker, did you get that?
Got it, thank you.
Okay, we are now moving into Personnel Director. One is a typo of plural. Evaluations are now a plural. And the second part to that sentence is, instead of just recommendation, it's recommendations regarding compensation. I'll read the sentence. Administrators, the town personnel bylaw, the town personnel bylaw includes maintenance of centralized personal records for preparation of annual evaluations of town employees, and recommends recommendations regarding compensation.
So all they did is add on the end regarding compensation.
Yeah, and
And makes, should we have a makes recommendations regarding compensation? Just seems like something's missing there.
Yeah.
Makes.
Doesn't the department head make the recommendations?
that starts with the department head, then it goes to the town administrator.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think you'd put makes, if you're gonna leave that at the end there.
Makes, yes. Charlie?
And makes, sorry?
As long as we're going to get into the fine details, on this page, all of the first word is a verb usually, except for the word responsible. And it's all like third-person singular, like administers, organizes, coordinates, and recommends. On the page before, it's not consistent, so maybe asking the minute taker to make all that, make the case consistent on page 2. At number 7, it says oversees, and then it says attend on number 10. It should be attends. He attends all meetings, prepares the agenda, maintains all essential records, and so, I mean, adding an S to those verbs would make it all consistent.
Yeah, that's fine. I said, I didn't write this, so that's something
And
that I
I
didn't.
skipped that class in English structure.
You know, it's the teacher that you
But
can't
that's a
get
good
rid of,
thing.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
I'm a numbers person. My husband is the language guy, so.
This place doesn't add up to me. Anyways,
So we're going to add makes in front of recommendations?
that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Makes.
Makes recommendations regarding compensation. We're leaving the ending in there that they asked for. Is that
Ernie,
correct?
you cool with that?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to jump down to number 6. What originally says creates accurate job. Now it says updates and kept current descriptions of all town positions.
I guess what I'm going to say is we probably want both of those in there, because there may be new jobs coming down.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's just,
How about creates, updates, and keeps current job descriptions for all town?
That again was different from last night, Josie. Didn't we say that involves?
Keep current, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than creates, because we just had Don Jacobs and we just created all the job descriptions that we
That
have,
won't
so.
be the end of it.
No, I'm sure it won't be, but
Right.
Well, I would think that if.
Josie, you want to go up there?
yeah.
That unless the new position is somebody who's reporting to the town administrator, I wouldn't expect that the town administrator would be the person to write the job description. It would be done at minimum in conjunction with the department head. But usually the department heads would take a try at it and then maybe have it reviewed by the town administrator.
Like you said, if it works for the town administrator, they need to create. Right? So they have to create at some point if a person works for them. I'm just saying leave the option in there.
Create/approve, or just approve if a department head does it? I don't know.
Or creates in conjunction with the department head, or,
Well, it says works cooperatively with department heads to maintain up-to-date
Yeah.
copies of job
Right.
descriptions.
but that's when we took out the creates.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
It's a big job.
That is a huge job.
At some point, they're going to have to create. That's
As
my
we
only
can tell.
question, so.
so we put the word create, comma, updates, and kept current.
Yeah, and they're working with the department head,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's fine.
add the word create to that sentence and go from there?
Well, no, what you want to do is, the sentence as it originally was, after create, you put a comma, then you put updates and keeps
Keeps
current
current.
Right.
job.
So we're getting rid of accurate jobs and just putting updates and keeps current.
Yeah, you're
And
putting,
then putting the word job after that.
right,
Yes.
exactly.
Got it.
Minute taker got this?
Okay, so we're gonna make it creates, updates, and keeps current job descriptions for all
Right.
town, okay.
Got it.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the changes in that section.
And I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Now we're going to section D, appointments. Nothing. There's nothing. Wow. Now we go to section E, financial. Line 1, proposed change coordinates town projects with various other financial personnel that may have a financial impact on the town. That is striking, serves as the chief financial officer of the town, for the town.
I personally like the way it was, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, the second paragraph of the Collins Institute said, in several instances, and Rini read this, several instances, they weaken the job description. An example is the deletion of the role of chief financial officer, and it muddies the responsibilities and qualifications. So it kind of goes along with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Why was that taken out?
Well, why do you need a chief financial officer? You have an accountant and you have a treasurer that do all the financial work. This person needs to coordinate, like for instance, a project that needs the department heads, the financial people, you know, could be whoever, to coordinate to make sure all those pieces get done.
Yeah.
But does that person really need to? I mean, are they gonna have as much expertise as Don and I in what we do?
If you hire the right person.
You know what I mean? But then you don't need Don and I if you have that person to do that job. You know, I mean, you're kind of duplicating efforts, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I
And
mean,
you know, you think about communities who are larger, have a chief financial officer, they have an accountant, they have an assistant accountant, they have a treasurer and assistant treasurer. We're not that big.
I know, but this is an administrative position.
Right.
And I think that administrative positions, directors, I think that they have responsibility for personnel, finance, you know, there's a tremendous amount of oversight. So I'm comfortable with the way it was, and I think if the Collins Center, who are paying a good amount of money to make that recommendation, say that that's the way they think it should be written to get a strong candidate, I think I'd favor their recommendation. I don't think it's removing a lot of, you know, I think that both you and Donna do a great job. I don't think it's removing your authority. I just think that there's somebody that's now going to have oversight of a lot of different things, not just financial. I think this strengthens the position.
fiduciary responsibility, I think, in this position, and that's where this comes in. I mean, I don't have an issue actually with leaving what they put in after it. I mean, to go along with it.
So what I'm hearing is
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
would,
that might be, that's a
you
good
would-
compromise. Leave both.
leave both, keep the struck line and add the comment afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, does everybody feel comfortable with that?
Yep.
All right, there is no line 2, so I guess we're going to line 3. Line 3 says serves as budget director and is responsible for coordination and submittal of all department budgets to the select board for review and coordination with the town finance committee. That's being struck. And what's being added is serves as the point person during the budget process and is responsible for coordinating and submittal of all departmental budgets to the select board for review and coordinates with the town's finance committee.
Maybe it should say finance committee and team, because as the DLS report pointed out, you know, the administrator would be the point person, and then you'd have other people that were in the, you know, in the town hall be on that same finance committee to determine, you know, how you were gonna proceed with that budget, but.
How about financial team?
Huh?
Financial team.
Town's financial team. Yeah,
How is that, how is that different from what was originally there? What's the difference in your interpretation of what was struck versus what's been
Well,
created?
the budget director's out, and as soon as a point person, it was replaced by point person.
And I think this goes to what the Collins Center was talking about, diluting it. A point person versus a
Well,
budget director.
I guess
There's a
maybe
whole
that's
different-
not the correct term, but you're talking about budget director and they, yeah, whatever. I guess I've just come from bigger communities where the budget director, that's all they do is the budget.
Right.
Their entire, that's what their job is and that's all they do. And so you're asking someone to be the budget director, the chief financial officer, be responsible for all the town administrator day-to-day work. That's a lot of work for one person, when we're not that big.
I think by the accountant and assistant accountant reporting up to the town administrator, I think that's where the chief financial budget director comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what I would do is leave what was crossed out in the last three words, have the town's financial team instead of the town's finance committee, because that'll include the finance committee and the rest of the team.
Well, I think we should define what that team is.
Well, it could change over time, though.
Well, the team currently is the accountant, the treasurer, the assessors, someone from the finance committee, and the town administrator. That's what it is right now. So it kind of leaves out a good chunk of the finance committee.
I think the finance committee needs to stay on this, but I think we need to add the financial team to this,
So the town's financial committee and team,
and financial team.
I'm fine with that.
So what we're doing is keeping the original statement. As serves as the budget director and is responsible for coordination and submittal of all department budgets to the select board for review and coordinates with the town finance committee and financial team, period.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And then you're taking out the rest of the,
Yeah.
they added, okay.
Basically what we're doing is adding financial team.
Mhm.
Does that work for everyone?
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. Number 7.
Something crossed out and then we'll-
Oh, yeah.
On.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, on number 4, it makes recommendations regarding all town department budgets, striking the word "on." Number 7, did I miss something else? I don't see those lines going.
Yeah, they're not highlighted, so you missed them.
I'm just like, 7, responsible for preparation and maintenance of the town capital improvement plan, prepares recommendations for annual capital requests, and prepares a 5-year capital plan for purchase and maintenance of capital assets. This is what's being added. In conjunction with the capital improvement committee, prepares recommendations for annual capital requests and prepares 5-year capital plan for purchase and maintenance of capital assets.
Is that
It's
in addition?
duplicating.
So
or
we
is that
just
duplicating?
added in conjunction with the capital improvement committee.
And
Okay.
I spoke to Vicky about that. That was one of those that got missed because of the special town meetings we've had to correct and everything else. So I think adding that one sentence in conjunction with capital improvement committee is necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our bylaws, we have to have it.
But
We
you're
need to do
duplicating it.
Well,
It's-
I think they meant to cross out what
Cross
was
that
above.
out.
Right.
Correct.
Cross
Okay.
out the
Sometimes you
first
can't
part of
see.
that.
Okay, that's
We're just
fine.
adding that line in there, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So with that, gonna take her, have you grasped this change?
Number 7 is basically add in what they put and cross out what was there before.
Right, so remove where it says prepares recommendation for annual capital request and prepares 5-year capital plan for purchase and maintenance of capital assets, and instead put this next sentence, correct?
That's my understanding. Striking prepares recommendations for annual capital request. That sentence.
Mhm.
And then taking the highlighted section and move it in there.
No, you got to keep going there, Charlie, because at the end of the highlighted is the same as the next sentence.
Yeah, that's, he just meant the rest of the sentence, too.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Now I'm confused.
As long as she has it.
Okay.
Read back what you have, please.
Well, now that I heard that, I'm reading it as responsible for the preparation and maintenance of the town's capital improvement plan in conjunction with the capital improvement committee, prepares recommendations for annual capital requests and prepares 5-year capital plan for purchase and maintenance of capital assets.
Right.
Perfect.
That's what we were thinking, yes.
Yep.
Good.
So with that, we're at the end of that section.
We're at the end of everything.
And do I hear a motion to accept this entire job description as modified?
Yep, I just update the date.
Yep.
I'll make the motion. We accept it as modified.
All in favor?
Aye.
So done.
Thank
No.
you.
Who did the second? Sorry, I didn't get the
Charlie.
second.
I did.
You did, okay,
Now.
thank you. Thank you.
Now,
I'll second that.
thank you, Vicki.
Yeah, thanks to the committee for doing
Thank
this.
you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Did we talk about the minor change to the profile?
I was told that was the end of it. Is there something I missed?
Well, the profile is a whole different document.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just one change on the profile.
What was it?
It was where it listed all the committees and commissions, we added Personnel Policy and Procedure Board because it got left out.
Oh,
We all comfortable with that?
I didn't hear the whole thing. What'd
So
you-
if you look at the profile, it talks about working with various committees and commissions, and the Personnel Policy and Procedure Board was left out of that. It talks about library trustees, finance committee, school committee, water commission, but it doesn't have personnel policies and procedures, which I think is important to put
Yeah,
that back in
very
there.
important, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and they left out Easthampton as a neighboring city.
Yeah, well,
Just little things.
They may think it is.
Bob, can you follow through with those little tweaks, please? All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Now, Mr. Marco, the question is going to be, when can this board sign that document? Can you prepare a signature page for us tonight? Because we are not meeting for another month.
Right. Signature page,
Yeah.
yes, we can do that.
Okay. In fact, if you want to do that now, we're going to go into the signing of the deed.
Right,
So we'll have a couple of minutes here that,
all right.
that's pretty routine stuff.
remember the date, I don't know, I just remember the date, and also,
All right,
I
what do I
don't
do
know
with
whether
that?
you want to update the name.
I'm going to move now into the Bissonnet Circle subdivision and the, basically acceptance of the deed so that this now becomes a public roadway in the town of Southampton. Did you two have a question on something else? Okay. Well, now, let's do it. It's all right. I try to be courteous to everybody and let everybody have a moment, but, you know. So this is the actual deed. My understanding is highway superintendent is satisfied with this. Planning board is satisfied with this.
Except,
Town meeting has accepted it. It's simply a simple matter for this board to vote to sign the deed.
Right, the only stipulation I would make is, I had council look at this just to make sure everything was good, and there's 2 referring documents on this deed. One of them is the definitive subdivision plan that was recorded at the Registry of Deeds on April 22nd, 2009, which was, it was actually April 2nd. So we were told to wipe that one of those 2's out. They had April 22nd, so
Okay.
we have to make that one little change. And then they refer to another document, which is the plan of the as-built for Bissonnet Circle. Legal did not have that plan available. He said if you can just verify it, that it's labeled properly in the deed to match the definitive plan, he was good with everything else. So I would recommend that we sign the deed and hold it in the town clerk's office until Monday. I tried to get a hold of Paul Deman, the chair of the planning board, to have him give me the as-built so I could verify that. He's on vacation. He'll be back on Monday. So if we hold the deed, if we sign it and have it notarized tonight, hold it in town clerk's office, and if everything pans out, then we can send it to our legal to have it recorded. That's my,
is that a motion?
So I'll make a motion that we sign the deed with that stipulation, that we gotta verify the as-built.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Point of comment, please record in the minutes that we are referring to Bissonnet Circle, AKA Bobcat Hollow, so that when someone goes searching for this in the minutes in the future, they'll have a key that triggers that, because a lot of people are gonna know it as Bobcat Hollow. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. I guess we better sign this.
And it has to be notarized, so do you want the town clerk?
I'm looking at the town clerk right now.
Here, she's hiding.
Would the town clerk approach, please?
Approach the bench.
Every time I say that to her, she gets a little annoyed. Sign that. No, you gotta sign that.
Oh,
And you gotta hand it
there's-
back to me. She has to make sure you're,
This is the date that has to be whited out, because the plan that's recorded was recorded on April 2nd. So the attorney said just white out the first two. So if you can do that. The first two, so leave the second two. So it was recorded on April 2nd.
You may want to add do we need to add the date here?
There you go.
Did she get this now?
Well, there's more than that.
well, there's more paper here I gotta give her, but yeah. Now she has to take and sign off on it and everything. Janine, I'm gonna put today's date on this thing.
That's it.
This is it. We're losing our audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes,
It's a good milestone.
yes.
Yes.
Nice to have
I'm
it.
gonna tell you, Mr. Labrie did a lot of work on that to get that finalized. I sort of
Yeah,
enjoyed,
Mr. Labrie, it's good to have it off the public or private roads.
Yes, I believe that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Do you have the PCFs?
I don't have
All right, there's also a,
Is,
you see the box
Yeah.
form there?
oh, right here.
Underneath that,
it. I've
Yeah.
got them electronically here.
yeah, well,
I only had one.
That's the electric,
that's the electric, I don't wanna get into that, there's,
this is the park, the corner park.
okay,
Can approve that.
keep going, because
I think this is,
I want the PC.
that's still with Lori Baker.
Right, I want that, and I want that other form there, it's sitting there, see it?
This
Right
one?
on top of the yellow?
Yeah.
Okay. This just happened today. We had a employee that has left employment, Christine Finney's,
Fancy.
Vencia, and we owe her for vacation time. And so we need to take just a quick formal vote to authorize her to get paid that vacation time.
Why do we have to take a vote? It should be in the normal process of somebody leaving.
My understanding is there was concern about it because she only put a couple of weeks into the town before she left. And they wanted to ensure that the select board was comfortable with this. It is part of our normal policy. This is nothing unusual.
So how much are we paying out if she's only been here a couple of weeks?
Well, the problem is the way our policy works for vacation time, they get full vacation time if they've been working this the following year.
So when, when did she start, when did she end? I mean,
Oh,
does this go through the PQB? Who
Yeah.
checked this out?
Well, let me back up. There's no reason for it to go to PPUB. Basically, what's happening is that the treasurer's office is trying to pay the assistant treasurer because they're leaving now and took a new job,
Right.
but they worked a week or so into this year, which makes them eligible for the vacation time this year.
So they worked a week or two into this year.
Right.
What you first said, I thought you said they were only here a week or two. and-
No, they've been here for over a year.
Okay.
So what is our policy is if they work one day into the new year,
They
They're
get
eligible for the entire year's
vacation time.
vacation time? And is there sick or anything else that goes with it, or is that it?
I think that's it. So it's basically 57 hours.
And is that reflected in the new policy?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, I would think that's something we want to check into then.
Well, that's the other thing, that's why we review our policies. And we're gonna go back in August with that review.
I mean, if it's per our current policies and we owe it to her, that's whether we like it or not, whether we like the policy or not, so.
So, we're just discussing.
It's really not a vote required if that's the policy.
Discussing
There's nothing to
the
do.
fantasy
Yeah, so if
vacation
it's-
time?
Like Jim says,
So is it?
if that's the policy, we don't
she's
need to
only
vote on
A
it.
couple days into
Okay,
this
the
fiscal year,
treasurer
so
asked
she's
for a
eligible
vote
to
on it.
for a year's
Yes.
worth of,
She's the department head.
very liberal policy.
Yes, it is. But that's what it is. right now.
Okay.
Agreed?
But the department heads requested a vote of
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Because you were there when she
I was,
requested.
yes.
But again, we're not going to interpret the policy. The department head should be able to do that.
But I would definitely bring it back to the department heads to review the policy.
Well, then we're gonna be reviewing the policy. That's the
I don't
reason why
think
we
it's
had
a
that
good
meeting
policy.
a few weeks ago, was to get that door open again, so we have time to,
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie?
yeah.
What's this for?
Panic here about the paperwork.
That's the job
description.
description.
Description,
Sign
okay.
that.
I just want to make sure.
Okay.
You know that car you
They
just
have,
left me?
he has
Jim said it
Lori
was a
thing.
deed in my house.
He has Lori
No, I think
Baker's,
that was
and
a
he also
different form.
has the fantasy paperwork.
All right.
That's it.
And you have the contract
signature
for electrical
page.
power.
Yes, he has that also.
Are we at that point?
No, we're only talking about the vacation request.
Okay.
So, the board does not want to make a motion to this?
I mean, if it's the
Bob's take on
policy,
it.
we're kind of stuck with it, but I definitely think it's a little, needs to be reviewed.
That's fine.
I think she's owed that, that's what they gotta do.
Okay,
I don't think our vote makes any difference in the matter.
all right. Well, I got that out of the way, then. Let's move on now with the electric power contract. Zach?
Okay, Zach is here. I did the survey, which you should have. It's a spreadsheet. As you can see, the state, by the way, prepared those numbers, so they're not,
This what we're talking about?
no, that's what Zach handed out, and that's the
But this is,
HCOG
okay.
prices. And then you can see the prices on the spreadsheet there for the other providers. They are all
Here's the other providers.
higher than the rate for HCOG.
I'm Zach Holt with the Hampshire Council of Governments.
Yeah.
Because of the rates, it is a commodity, rates change daily.
Yeah.
So I do have some updated rates for you. They have not changed much, but they have changed.
Thank you.
All right. Here, John, I found another one.
Yeah, this is 10.6 for 12 months. You can see that I think you took all the sheets, so I don't have the other.
Yeah, unfortunately, I took them all.
This one?
Yeah,
Oh,
on the
okay.
spreadsheet that I gave you, these other companies, it looks like the price would be 10.08 for the lowest price provider. Now, these are not up to date either. These would not be updated. This is what's on the website that the state put up like 2 months ago, so.
That's when rates change.
Hmm?
That's when the rates change. So that is current. The
Mhm.
next rates will change November into December.
What we do know is, we're currently in the spot market, and that's usually, that's gonna be the highest priced over time, at least. So we need to get out of the spot market, because our contract with NG expired a year ago.
Mhm.
So that's why Charlie wanted me to get this done quickly. so that the board can make a decision in July and not wait another month and pay a higher rate than we should.
I would entertain a motion that we sign a contract with Hampshire Power. The only question I have is, do we sign it for 12 months or 24 months?
If I may make a suggestion based on the markets and the way rates are going, the 2-year is the highest here. Once we get into 3 years, it does make a big drop off because of just changes in the market. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The 3-year does look to be about the best right now for rate.
So you're projecting rates are going to be going down in the next 36 months?
Yeah, after about 24 months. So that's really, the volatility of the market right now is such that the rates will be high after about a year. So you see for 18 months and 24 months, you're up a little bit higher. But once you get into that 3-year again, it drops down.
Now, is there ability to cancel out of this sometimes during the 3-year term?
No, not typically.
Not typically, but is there? I mean, is there
Not
any
that
kind
I know of, no.
Okay. So it's all in for the period?
That's true.
Making a commitment for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then they buy the power, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're just playing the futures on it, yeah.
They go in contract.
I would lean towards the 3 years. But what do I know? I'm just a dirt farmer.
Well, it's a gamble, you know, we could be doing a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's a known thing, that's the,
I know with the solar, the floor was like 8.5.
And do you anticipate that the Hampshire Council of Governments will be staying in the electricity business?
yes, very much.
There was some question about that.
Yeah, this past couple of years have been very good for the Council of Governments, particularly because of the electricity department. We've been turning the revenue and making it successful. I brought I don't have it with me today, but the annual report, and it shows our production and our profits. So I'm sorry I don't have that with you today, but yeah, we do have, you may have one in your office or several, but they are in this building.
So what happens if you got out of the business during this 3 years? What would happen to this?
It would go back to the market. It would go back to, more than likely, the Eversource is your utility company
Okay.
there.
so they have an out, but we don't.
Yeah. Almost personally thinking go for a year and see where that goes, but that's my thought.
It's just indicating that they're looking into the future, thinking the prices are gonna be
Yeah.
dropping.
And with the addition of your current solar you have here, and then possibly if you entertain the idea of the biogas, the agrid farm, that may be something that would. That's going to be something that's going to save you 15% on the whole bill. So we're talking about supply here, working with the Council of Governments. You're supporting us, who in turn supports you, being a member town. So there is give and take with this agreement as well, where you're really not going to get that anywhere else. It's nice to keep the dollars local and work with a local company, but when it's a local nonprofit who also gives back to your town in different ways, that's a value, I would imagine.
Now, have you looked at the town as a global, what kind of savings would it be if we went from the 1 year to the 3 year? Do you have that kind of projection to where you know what the usage is?
Yeah.
And you know what the rate would be? And if you look over 3 years, what would that save us? That,
0.005.
yeah, it goes, 0.1056 opposed to 0.1061. I'm just,
Sure. Well, 600,000 kilowatt hours roughly is what you're using per
Okay.
year. So if you're multiplying times 10.56 by 3. That's 21,000 versus 21,120 for 1 year savings versus
600,000 kilowatt hours, whatever you said.
Yep.
Is that the total power usage for the town?
Yes.
And how much will go through other, the solar and all that? How much does that affect that 600,000? Is that any part of that?
That's, we get credit on that, that's not the same.
I see. No. So what you get from the solar are net metering credits. And so it's different from supply.
But it won't affect this at all then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I want to make sure there's not some interconnection here.
Yep.
Yeah, that other contract's saving us about, if I remember right, $10,000 a
Yeah,
year,
it was a smaller amount, but it's money.
you know?
Did you come up with the same figures?
No, I'm doing something wrong. So 600,000, I think that's the difference. So it's 600,000 kilowatt hours.
I think that's what he said, yeah.
So that's the number you're using, is 600,000?
That's right. Yeah.
It's .0020.
So the difference is,
That's this year, that's 3 years. But if we do this year and then we end up here, we're paying that much more.
so 63,400
this,
roughly,
We got a lower rate than
divided by
that,
3.
insured for 3 years.
So about, you come up with about 21,000
That's the
in change?
Okay.
Zach?
Yeah. That's what I was getting.
I'm coming up with about $21,120 based on 600,000.
Yes.
Well,
600,000,
no, what you did is you take this number here
the top number.
and you subtract the 3-year one, which
Yeah.
is,
Oh, I see what
and you
you're
get the
That's
.0005, you
this
multiply that times 600,000.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the 63.4 for 3 years divided by 3, and you get 21, roughly 120,
Oh.
130. So that's good money, at least projecting what we have now versus then. I mean, we could play the market, but who knows?
I'd rather do the 3 years simply because it locks us in at a cheaper rate,
Yeah.
and it gives us basically an insurance policy for 3 years.
And I gotta tell you, where we work, we play the market, we do a lot of that, but we have a consultant that we pay for, and we have people that have the qualifications. People up here aren't gonna do that. It's a complicated system out there.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think that you're wise as a town to take advantage of the solar incentives that are available. But now with other net metering credit options, really this agrid opportunity is awesome. It supports a local farm and it cuts into 15% of whatever isn't already covered by the solar.
Oh, and I appreciate you sending a list of all the other communities that are
Right.
involved. There's
There
an
was quite a
extensive
few of
list
them.
of all communities around us that are involved with this.
Mhm.
It makes you feel a little more comfortable, so. I think it's a good idea, and I think I'd lean towards the 3 years. That's my opinion.
Why are you projecting a decrease after the second year?
I couldn't tell you that. That is the bean counters and where
Price of renewables going down,
it's mostly driven by natural gas.
more natural gas and less coal-fired and oil-fired plants?
That's true. Yeah, most of it, 75% of the supply in the Northeast is natural gas. But there is more and more solar coming online, but really wind. And wind is making a big difference. And maybe that's where this is changing, because there are several projects that are being built that are wind offshore and on the mountains and in the Berkshires.
Do you have a piece of Berkshire Wind?
No.
No.
Maine Hydro and a solar farm in northern New Hampshire. So
Do I hear a motion to accept the contract for 3 years?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Based on our knowledge now, it seems like the best way to go and save the town roughly $21,000 a year.
It's pretty significant.
Any more discussion? So we did a contract for the solar credit at about $10,000 savings. Now we're saving another $20,000 in this contract.
21 roughly, yeah.
Hope our math is correct.
Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Well, the math is correct. And now it's
Now what
locked
we
in.
need
As
is the
long as it's in
contract.
Business, we're all set.
Do you have the contract?
I do.
You do.
I left it with you last week as well, but this is,
The date,
I'm sorry?
up-to-date contract?
Yes, actually, what I do need to do though is fill in the term.
What do you think, Tammy? Tammy approves, I feel better, because
Areas where you
she takes notes all the time on what we're doing.
Every town is different. I've
Have-
had administrators sign. I
been
don't know
involved
if
in
you signed
such
with the
cooperative
group,
agreements like this?
In, select board chair.
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
just
so this is
would
typical.
be signature here and the byline, name, title, date.
We're all comfortable with me signing this, I take it, you just voted.
Yeah, as long as you read it and it's as, doesn't say indemnification or anything like that. No.
There's 3-day, like any contract in
Oh,
Massachusetts.
okay, yeah.
And I believe there's a contract around here somewhere for you folks
And
to
is it
look over.
Eversource that creates?
All right, let's do this.
The
The contract's voted on, it's signed, I'm giving it to the town administrator to proof in case there's something that we lost.
Sure,
He'll be responsible getting it back to you.
okay.
We don't meet again until August, so I'm
Okay.
trying to make this happen.
These rates are good. Tomorrow would be fine. I can come back and get it tomorrow. Or,
That's what I would do, see,
Yep.
but we gotta get his attention, so here's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
He's gonna come back tomorrow, I want you to proof this in case you see something that we missed.
Mhm.
And make sure Vicky gets a copy of this. Let's see, 13th? No, 18th.
You went away our 3
And
days.
if you could initial here.
Okay, then?
So many
Alright.
changes.
Give
in
it to
this
Bob,
industry.
let Bob proof it in case there's something we missed.
Okay.
And it's a done deal, sir.
So, yeah, I'll
Okay.
give you a call in the morning.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Okay. PCF. We have a PCF for Lori Baker. Lori Baker is our custodian. We hired her to work half-time in this building, and she has been given a pay increase at the school department for her work there, because she's the custodian there. And one of the discussions we had when we put her on board here was to try to keep her pay at the same level as the school department's pay for custodial work. So we need to take and increase her pay. I don't have a dollar amount. Bob is working on that. I have the PCF in my hand, but there's no dollar amount on this because we weren't sure about the step increase. So what I'd like to do is have the board authorize me to sign this. What'll happen is this will now go to the personnel board. Then it'll go to the finance committee, and then it comes back to us for final approval. So just signing this tonight doesn't necessarily mean this is happening.
So why are we signing it if it's coming back to us?
We're the initiators, we oversee her.
Okay.
So for her to get any kind of a pay increase, we have to initiate.
Gotta say, I wish there were some numbers in here, because we don't know what we're signing for. If they
Bob,
gave her a $2 an hour raise, would we want to do the same thing?
She got a 2% raise at the school department,
Okay.
and her current rate is $15.38, I believe. It goes to $15.69. The question that we don't have resolved is they have a step system at the school department. We don't know if her step has changed. If her step changes, the rate would be $16.43, I believe.
So it's the 2% that was in?
It's a 2%. Remember when the schools were,
Right.
when the Norris School was saying, we did contracts with everybody for
Right.
twos. She's part of the union
Okay.
of paraprofessionals,
So as long as it follows that
and
protocol.
they got twos. They got
That's
twos.
fine, yeah.
And that's the same as the employees here. You always have to kind of balance off
Yep.
someone coming in versus the people who've been here a while. They will continue to be ahead of her rate.
In this building?
You know, the administrative staff here
Yeah.
had some concern when we did this,
Mhm.
that, they'd been here a while,
Right.
and but her rate currently is below the rate of the administrative assistants in the building. It will continue to be below that rate.
I guess I'm less concerned about that, because if somebody has more time at a lower grade than somebody, I have people like that, and it's just the way the system works.
And are they on the same, as administrative assistant and her position on the same level? So
Agreed.
therefore, it would be, or should be more equal?
No. It's a different job description completely, and not equivalent even at the school department with the administrative assistants.
Let me be very candid. Since we've hired her, no one's calling me up with problems here, which is very refreshing. I've
And we are
had
getting excellent
nothing
work.
but compliments about her.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Good.
But I think, how do we find out what she's making? How do we know what the number should be in here? I
Well,
mean,
he's going to do that.
But we're signing, or we're not gonna sign this, we're just gonna authorize you to go through the process.
Right.
Fill this out, and then it goes to the PQB,
Goes, yeah.
Finance Committee, then it'll be back to us for our
Then
approval.
we make the approval.
I have no problem if we do that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we know exactly what the rate is, so long as the step hasn't changed. That's the one, Vicki and I talked this over today. We didn't know if the step had changed, but she has a copy, the accountant has a copy of the new contract for the paras and the custodians at the Norris School.
So, but what Jim says, it sounds like we're just starting, we're authorizing the process to get started, it'll come back to us.
Basically, I'm signing this as department head for the select board. That's what I'm doing.
Starting the process, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Does anyone make a motion in a second, or I don't need that for this?
Jim, make a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion that we start the process by having Charlie sign it as department head, and then it'll go to the PQB, Finance Committee, and then back to us for final approval.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I like the way she keeps us in line down there.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, well, you
We're approving things, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't have a motion.
Sure you did, you just don't remember.
That's the one-day license plus the question that Velda wrote.
You want a booze license?
One day. Just for a day.
Come in between now and the next Board of Selectmen, so could one board member be, okay. We have the classic dilemma of not having a Board of Selectmen's meeting until August 22nd. We have a park that operates and has parties that sometimes need liquor licenses. Does the board entertain authorizing one of its members to be able to sign off on a liquor license during that time period?
We don't know any are coming up, this is just in case.
We
This
have,
is
we
just
have
in
one
case.
to approve tonight, right?
We have
There'll
one
only
for
be one-day
tonight.
Yeah,
license.
we'll do that tonight.
They're
yeah.
one-day licenses.
Yeah.
And who does the checklist?
Velda.
Velda.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion that the board vote to authorize its members to be able to sign a one-day liquor license up until August 22nd.
Will one signature be appropriate, Bob? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as long as all the documents are in order, and
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I'm with Jim, so as long as we can see that source document that everything is done, I'm okay with that.
I don't want to hold anybody up, so, yeah.
All in favor?
Do you need a motion in a second?
It would be
Catch
cool,
an
but
I'll make a motion that any select board member can approve the one-day liquor license for the park.
up until August 22nd.
Up until August 22nd.
As long as all the documents are in,
Yeah.
Yep, as long as the checklist is complete.
and I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, did the minutes taker get that? All right, good, all right. And Velda's happy, and Bob's happy, and there it is. We have a one-day alcohol permit request by Michael Goyette. All paperwork, I am told, is here and correct. It is for August 5th, a Saturday, at Conant Park. Do I hear a motion to authorize this permit?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Not the police chief. This is somebody on Gun Road. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody, if they're wondering.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, because there was a question, was this authorized by the police chief?
Yeah, wasn't checked off, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. I'm going to sign this off. Any other material to come before the board?
That's all the business on the agenda.
Okay. Anything for open time for the public? This is your opportunity. No? Tammy? You're going to be quiet for a month? This is it, man. Trust me, Tammy and I harass each other every opportunity we get.
But on public TV?
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. All right, then I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting's closed. Thank you, everyone.